I got my start with the Bureau of Land Management as a natural resource planner, and that involved bringing stakeholders together to design land use plans and management plans for natural resources. Early on as a planner, I started to realize that natural resource management was conflict management. And that's how I got into conflict resolution. And so I did my Ph.D. in conflict resolution at George Mason University, where I focused on environmental conflict and the environmental drivers of conflict. After my PhD, I worked in the private sector for a number of years for boutique modeling firms, trying to understand how to predict conflict and how to predict where conflict would happen in the world. After working in the private sector, I came to Columbia, originally as a postdoc with the Earth Institute, and later as director of AC4, which is a research center in the Earth Institute that focuses on conflict, peace, and sustainable development. As a research scientist, I'm both doing research and doing practical work. I work with countries, governments, private sector, enterprises, industry, and NGOs who are all involved in natural resource management and natural resource conflicts. The classes that I teach are informed by my practice and they're informed by my research, and we create opportunities for students to join the research projects. I've taken students from the NECR program to the Amazon, to Papua New Guinea, to Mozambique, and to the Philippines, all working on different types of natural resource conflicts and conflict management. I would say that the most exciting part of my job is the field work, working with people who depend directly on natural resources for their livelihoods, for their well-being, or for their country's well-being. I knew that this was the field I wanted to get into pretty early in my career as a resource manager. I'm really passionate about the natural world and preserving our natural resources, but I pretty quickly started to realize that without addressing stakeholder conflict and social conflict, natural resource management really isn't possible. For the last 6 years, I've been working in the Peruvian Amazon, designing management plans for national parks. That involves bringing stakeholders together from indigenous groups, from the Peruvian government, from civil society, and from extractive industries and agricultural industries around the area to design management plans that can simultaneously meet social needs and environmental needs. Typically, natural resource management plans focus only on the environment, or only on conservation, or only on biodiversity. And that creates opportunities for huge conflict between other resource users who depend on those resources and depend on those parcels of land for their livelihoods. We can actually uncover the drivers of conflict and design management plans that can really meet multiple sets of needs without compromising environmental quality or social sustainability. Through those experiences, I've started to really hone a theory of environmental conflict resolution in published papers and stakeholder reports and government reports. And for the next 2 or 3 years, I'm focused really on refining that and building that body of knowledge and practical research so that stakeholders, whether they're governmental, industry, or community, can implement better practices in environmental conflict management.